UK. But now it is not a must. Now the exam, 3 exams I was telling, part 1 written, part 2 written and part 2 clinical paces. All of MRCP can be completed in India without visiting UK, and for MRCP part 1 and part 2 both from home, that is from home atmosphere, there is one app they say, and they will monitor you in your computer itself. What you need a laptop and a good internet connection. The people sitting in Ireland will monitor you, and they will give part 1 and part 2 from sitting at home. 3 hours you have to sit in front of your laptop in a secluded place in a home. They will see the whole atmosphere of the home, of the room where you are sitting, and they will. But for part 3, Ireland, previously it used to be done in India, but due to lack of candidates, no centers are running in India. Maybe in future, if Ireland qualification is also likely to be accepted by NMC, because MRCP Ireland is accepted by GMC. If you do MRCP Ireland, you can practice in as consultant in UK, but not in India, because MRCP Ireland is accepted by GMC. But our problem is, due to lack of communication from both ends, the UK qualification has been approved, but Ireland qualification is not. But for MRCPI, that's why I think it is my idea that there is no center working for clinical examination. For it, you have to go to Malaysia, Oman, Dubai or Ireland. I had gone to Malaysia because it is easier and cheaper to go to Malaysia and sit for the exam. Part 1, 2 written papers, 2 into 100 multiple choice questions. Part 2 also, 2 written papers, 2 into 100 multiple choice questions of 3 hours duration on the same day. Now, why it is important to know this? Because in a day, giving 6 hours exam is a tough job. Whatever may be your preparation, at the time of examination, what is your mental thought? That is important. Please keep it in mind whenever you are preparing for exam. 6 hours exam in a day is a tough job. You have to sit and you have to keep your mind cool. And the questions many are too lengthy because of extended matching questions. They give a situation, they have to analyze the situation, you need to then find out the answer. So, it is a tough job. Many times people find time short, but if you practice well, it can be done. And then comes PACES, Practical Assessment of Clinical Examination. It has over 5 stations and 8 patient encounters. So what is the eligibility? 1 year medical experience after MBBS. 1 year can be anywhere. Could have worked anywhere, needs a support of a proposer. The proposer can be any faculty of a medical college, any member of Royal College like me and Santu. We can also propose one proposers. They will have to countersign your qualification. What's my point? By the time of prevention, how many of you have done your registration? Registration is MRCP website. I have not done. So, first job is to do this. And your qualification will be approved. Then you will see your page working. Then you can apply for exam. Part 2, only a passing part 1 less than 7 years ago is needed. So, total duration you must complete this within a 7 years period. But 7 years is too much. People who can complete it within 3-4 years. The problem what we faced were getting a seat in the clinical examination cases after COVID. After COVID, there were very long queue of candidates waiting for PACES examination. But because part 1 and part 2, you can have many center, but PACES face-to-face interaction long due to COVID, it was stopped. And Nowadays, people are getting sick after 1 or 2 years, it will clear. But I had to wait for 2 years for getting MRCP UK seat. And that's why I passed MRCP Ireland earlier than MRCP UK. I have cleared part 1, part 2 with UK before Ireland. But I didn't get a seat. Same for Santo. And experience not mandatory but advised. So how many chances are there? Any idea? There will be maximum of 6 chances for each part. You can apply for, you can fail up to 6 times. And you can lose up to 3 lakh rupees. For each attempt, 60,000 rupees is like. What is part 1, part 2 and PACES? What they test? Part 1 is basically testing the theory and basic knowledge. And part 2 tests the data interpretation and ability. But there is no watertight compartmentalization. I have seen ECG questions coming in part 1 in MRCP Ireland. I have seen many long thought-provoking EMQ coming in part 1. So, our idea is to prepare for both together. Because the study materials what we have, the 2 books what we recommend and what everyone reads are for both part 1 and part 2. So studying them together is beneficial here. Is beneficial, and whenever you study, you don't think about part 1 and part 2. Only difference is in part 1 there are some questions of the basic sciences like statistics, like biochemistry, like anatomy, but they are all covered under clinical examination because in what they will ask about dermatomal questions. In statistics, they have specific stereotype questions that will be asked, not very high PICO. They have stereotype questions, only those questions are asked every time. So, the process is important, the knowledge is important, what to read and what not to read. If you can read Harrison, you can pass any exam in the art. But reading the Harrison is a difficult job, and keeping Harrison with you is a very good habit because it makes you healthier. There are few recommended study materials only with no one will ask you to read a text for passing MRCP. You can read. It is always a good idea to read a very good textbook, but only the Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine. If any textbook is needed, we need that. It has everything gisted there. Hopefully you have all seen Oxford. And what is PACES? PACES is fill the gap between theory and practice. And what does PACES stand for? Practical Assessment of Clinical Examination Skill. After you have learned all these things, because when you reach PACES, you will have sufficient knowledge about every aspect of medicine, whether it is gastro. In PACES, they have some stations, specific stations. One is respiratory case, one is abdominal case, one is neurology station, and one is cardiovascular. These 4 are fixed. There are 2 other stations. This is station 1 is communication. What I was telling, you will have to communicate with a surrogate and one respirator. All at 20 minutes. All carousels are 20 minutes. So 20 into 5, 200 minutes, and 5 minutes gap between them, 225 minutes. So, station 1 is communication and respiratory. Station 2 is consultation. Consultation means one patient will be there. There will be one history. A patient came to you with, I got a patient came visiting emergency clinic with giddiness. Examine him, and for that you have to examine all the systems, necessary systems. Giddiness can be due to cardiology, giddiness can be due to drugs, this can be due to neurological problem, So you have to examine the relevant part within 15 minutes and 5 minutes per question answer. Examiners will ask, there will be one candidate and 2 examiners for each station. So you will examine and 4 eyes will be watching you. But you need to concentrate on your job. They know what they are seeing, you know what you are doing. That is what the art of skills they want us to learn. Sankar is very good at that. So we will let you understand. We have done clinical questions, clinical stations together in Chennai. Then station 3, cardiovascular and neurology. One cardiovascular case, suppose the patient of mitral valve replacement is there or aortic valve replacement, there will be scar. And where will be click. Valve replacement একটা click হবে না? First হাতে থাকলে সেটা mitral valve, second not second aortic valve. We will show cases and we will learn. That is not at all difficult. Or there will be mitral stenosis. Everybody knows what is. Common things are common. Most of the stations are common things. Respiratory, either fibrosis or interstitial lung disease or COPD or pneumectomy, some cases. Abdomen, I was telling, hepatosplenomegaly, chronic liver disease. Then those cases will come. Neurology. Neurology is very difficult because examining neurology in 10 minutes, in 6 minutes, here the time allowed is 6 minutes. 6 minutes and 4 minutes of interaction. So in 6 minutes, no one can. So they will ask you either examine the upper limb, examine the lower limb, or examine the cranial nerves, or I will say, this patient presented to with aphasia, examine him accordingly. This patient with blurring of his vision, examines it accordingly. So part of it will be tested, and then another communication and abdominal.
Past MD Community Medicine from SSKM, now presently doing the health service as MRCP. And one more point to add, this is off the track. Dr. Shanto sir, Ami Shanto da boli, he was my PGT, and I learned the first IV line and the LP from him.
Thank you.
Great teacher.
Dr. Kaustubh Rai, DNB Respiratory Medicine, presently working with Apollo Hospitals.
I have completed my MD Community Medicine last year from Calcutta National Medical College, and now I am posted at Shastri Bhavan as MOCP.
Dr. Shubham De, I am currently a second year postgraduate trainee in Department of Community Medicine in Calcutta National Medical College.
Good evening, sir. I am Dr. Rituparna Mitra. I am third year postgraduate trainee in the Department of Community Medicine from the same college, Calcutta National Medical College.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Dr. Pushpendu Vishwas, tutor demonstrator, Community Medicine Department, Raymond Government Medical.